Hi, everybody. So let me go ahead and temper your expectations now. You might notice the large chunk of metal attached to the front of the engine, or I'm sorry, to the front of the plane, which is the engine. So, long story short, bought a new memory card, and even though it showed that it was recording files, and the files came out okay when I tested it, when I used it to actually record work, it died. Didn't work. Corrupted all the data, so you missed the next 6 hours of me working on firewall stuff, and you missed the hour of us putting the engine on. So yeah, that's all lost, because guess what? I ain't taking that fucker off again. Oh my god. So, Matthew, a club mechanic, came over. I said, listen, I want to hang my engine. I desperately need your help. Can you help me? He said, of course. So he comes over, and it took us a good hour. I mean, this is with a 20-year A&P IA, I would dare say, master mechanic at my side. It's just that these dynofocal mounts are a gigantic pain in the ass, right? For any of those not familiar, so the idea of the dynofocal mount is that all four engine mounts basically point towards the same spot, which is the theoretical, center of mass of the engine. Which means putting it on is a giant pain. I'll just say that. Trying to get all the bolts lined up, trying not to strip any of the threading, trying to get it through. That was a nasty one. But then my buddy Ted came over, and we put the prop on. He's like, you want to put the prop on? I'm like, yeah. Which is sort of a half mistake because we don't have the alternator on yet, or the belt, so that prop is going to have to come off. The good news about that is that it only does weigh 35 pounds, so I can basically one-hand it off, which is cool. All right. Anyway, on to more important stuff. So we're fitting on the exhaust, and here's where we're going to talk about the cold air sump. So the regular sump that is on the bottom of these engines, well, that's the regular sump. And when I ordered my exhaust, I bought a Vetterman's exhaust from the Vetterman Exhaust Company, which is a very common aftermarket replacement for Vans exhausts. I ordered it, and I said, yeah, I will be having a standard sump. No weird sumps for me. Of course, I didn't know that I was going to get the freebie of the upgraded sump. So now this exhaust does not fit. Well, that's not true. So the number 1 and number 2 exhaust, because you can see it's like a double crossover. So the number 1 and number 2 cylinders meet up and they go out one pipe. The number 3 and number 4 cylinders meet up and they go out another pipe. Right? And the number 1 and number 2 fit more or less. The number 3 and number 4 technically fit on, but here, let me show you a picture. This is the bottom of the sump where the oil drain plug is. Right? Long story short, it doesn't fit. It barely clears the sump, and it blocks my oil drain tube. So, sent it back to Vetterman's Exhaust, and they said, well, actually, I contacted them, and they said, send it back. We'll send you the correct one. So, I want to thank Clint at Vetterman's Exhaust for hooking me up. All right, so now we're working on connecting the EFI system. So you can see I have drilled two 1.1-inch holes into the firewall. Of course, I didn't get that on video because that would have been really helpful for everybody. So the 1.1 inch, that is the size of the two pass-throughs for the EFI system. And Robert Paisley, who makes these, really has made these robust. I mean, they're huge marine-grade connectors with massive amounts of shrink wrap and silicone in there. Like, there's not going to be a leak through the firewall of gas on this at all. And basically, this is just about sort of wiring out and leading out the EFI system. The leads for it are various lengths, and I did not feel like cutting them back any, so I've just been zip tying them to the engine mount and anywhere else, including trying to mount these manifold pressure sensors. So I've decided to move the manifold pressure sensors over from that corner because, well, to be honest, there's not enough room. Plus, I need to put some other sensors over there. So the two manifold pressure sensors for the EFI system are going to go on the top center of the firewall, more or less where I sort of have that one crappily painter taped up. And the area where the manifold pressure sensor on the edge over there is bolted in, we're going to be putting some other sensors. So, all right, hope everyone's having a great weekend, Thanksgiving weekend. I'm still full from Thursday, my tequila adventures, which I'll tell you about later. So, Thank you for joining me, everyone. See you soon.